Rocks from Sugarwell here, and today I'm bringing you a recipe inspired by what you could buy at the supermarket. Basically, they've got a lot more variety of oils than they ever used to have, so I thought, let's make a soap with things that we can just buy from the supermarket. The recipe involves these oils. So we've got coconut oil. I think this jar I got from Aldi. It's really reasonably priced. For this recipe you'll probably need 2 of these jars. But yeah, you can buy this in every supermarket now. An oil that I'm using that we don't often see in soaps, corn oil, and you'll recognise this brand. It's been around for years. So again, right from the supermarket. The next oil that I'm going to be using, and you can get this in the supermarket, and I've seen it in the hair care aisle, and it is castor oil. Castor oil is absolutely fantastic in soap. It helps to make a really great creamy lather. And yes, you can buy it in the supermarket, and I've seen it not in the cooking aisles, but in the hair care aisle. Now, the castor oil I have here isn't from the supermarket. I get it in large quantities, but you can buy a good sized bottle that's big enough to make this batch of soap from the supermarket. The other oils that we'll be using today are these. So here we have cold pressed rapeseed oil. Now the general purpose vegetable oil that you get is actually rapeseed oil, except this is kind of like the virgin version of it. So we'll be using that. We've also got rice bran oil that I've seen in just about every supermarket that I've been in. I think every supermarket does seem to be the same brand. Well, that's what I notice anyway. But obviously you'll be able to get other brands. And 2 more unusual ones are avocado oil. This is a little bit more expensive, but you know, it doesn't break the bank. And one that I was surprised to see in the supermarket is grapeseed oil. All of these oils have fantastic properties. One oil that I did notice it was in Waitrose, which is kind of where you might expect to find it, was hemp seed oil, except it was quite expensive for just a 500ml bottle. So I thought I'd give that a miss, because the idea behind making a soap out of supermarket oils is for it to be, you know, cheap. The other ingredients that we'll be using, and something that's absolutely 100% essential for making natural soap, is this, and don't be scared. Caustic soda, otherwise known as lye, which I think is a bit of a euphemism. Actually, lye is a really, really old word, and originally lye was made using ashes, like wood fire ashes, which are quite caustic. Anyway, caustic soda, you can't make soap without caustic soda, sodium hydroxide. And I admit I didn't actually find this in the supermarket, but I can get this from my corner shop. You can get it, you'll be able to get it in B&Q, in Homebase, probably Wilko's, lots of places. As I say, I got this from my corner shop. So, and don't be worried about using the caustic soda. Yes, you do have to take precautions and wear gloves and be careful when you're handling it. But when your soap is saponified, this doesn't exist anymore as caustic soda. It's transformed into something else, basically soap. Another 2 ingredients I'm going to be using to make this soap a little bit extra luxurious that you can get from the supermarket are, I have here some milk powder. This is actually skimmed milk powder. I couldn't seem to find any full fat powder, but we're going to be using that, so skimmed milk powder, but you can use full fat milk powder. And this here is Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt is a little bit higher in fat than other yogurts. So because this is quite a high coconut oil soap, even though we've got a decent super fat going on, the fat content of this yogurt is going to help make it more conditioning. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with weighing all those out in this video. So I've already weighed out all those oils here, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are, but I'll leave the recipe in the description box below. So we have in here, we have 50 grams of castor oil, 100 grams of corn oil, 100 grams of avocado oil, 100 grams of grapeseed oil, 100 grams of rice bran oil, and 100 grams of the rapeseed oil. And to that, I'm going to add, what have we got? 450 grams of coconut oil, which I have melted on a double boiler. So I'm just going to add that into there and scrape that all out. There we go. Just give that a little bit of a stir. What I tend to do with this is just pop it back into my warm water so that all the oils just get a little warm through together. For this recipe and this blend of oils, we're going to need 147 grams of caustic soda, and here I've mixed it with 200 grams of water. Now it's really important that you add your caustic soda or lye to the water and not the other way around, because you don't want it splattering. Really wear gloves as well. I'm not wearing gloves. I'm used to doing it and I'm being very careful. It's my own risk, but I recommend that you use gloves if you're not used to it. So I've mixed in and I've weighed it out really accurately, the caustic soda, because we don't want to put too much in. So 147 grams of caustic soda, 200 grams of water. Here we have, well, if you look at the recipe, you'll see that we have 1 kilo of oils in total. And I find that that fits the mould I'm just about to show you really nicely. So this is just a small mould that I use, and you can get these on Amazon for about £10. There's lots of household items that you can use as soap moulds, but just it can be really hard to unmould it. So if you're going to experiment with your moulds, make sure that you line it with some greaseproof paper or some freezer paper. So that's our mould. The fragrance that I'm using today is this Love Potion, which is from Craftivator in the UK, and this is based on the Victoria's Secret Love Spell fragrance. I'd never tried Love Spell before, but my daughter had, and she says this smells exactly the same, and I have since been into Victoria's Secret just to smell it, and yes, it does. I wasn't overwhelmed by this fragrance when I first smelled it, but oh my God, has it grown on me? It has really cast its spell on me. I absolutely love it now in everything. I put it in everything. I've put it in the shampoo that I make, the hair conditioner that I make, the whipped soap that I make. And for some reason, I just think that this works really, really well in cold process soap, probably better than in the other things that I've made with it. I'm going to be using Blue Green, and this is from Mineral Makeup Ingredients, I'm going to be using Ruby, which I also think is from Mineral Makeup Ingredients. I haven't written it on there. And Neon Orange from Mica. Our oils are at room temperature. Our lye solution's at room temperature. So we're good to go. So let's get started. Before adding the lye solution, I'm going to add the yoghurt and the milk powder to our melted blended oils. So in goes the milk powder and in goes the yoghurt. Don't think my little Pyrex jug is cute. There we go. And I'm just going to blend these up together. Okay, so they're nicely blended together. And into this, I'm now going to add our lye solution. And I'm going to give that a blend just to bring it to emulsion. I don't want it to get to trace, but just to emulsify, because I'm splitting it off into 3 different colours and I want it to stay fairly fluid so I can work with it. So I'm just checking the shaft of the blender to look for signs of separation, and there doesn't seem to be any, so we're good to go. Now my soap batter is emulsified. Before adding the fragrance, I'm going to split it off into 3 jugs, and I'm just going to I'll do it by eye, and I'm just splitting off small amounts because I don't want the colour to overwhelm the soap. Hard to see my 3 jugs, there you go. So I'm just splitting off and doing it by eye, small amounts, very small amount of each colour, for each colour should I say. Really, I just want wisps of colour, maybe a little bit more than I've allowed here. Be a little bit more generous. And so into those 3 jugs, I'm just going to add my colours one by one. And because I'm not selling this soap, I don't have to weigh out everything so accurately, so I'm just doing it by hand. So I've got about a flat teaspoon there of the neon orange. How do I get into this? Same amount of the ruby. And and the same amount of the blue-green. For the main batch, or the large batch of batter, I'm just going to leave that uncoloured because I'm curious as to see what the colour of the natural soap is with that blend of oils, which I've never used before. So I'm just going to mix these up, and then it'll be time to add the fragrance. And in here I have 30 grams of the amazing Love Spell fragrance. So I'm just going to put the majority in there, just some smaller amounts into these, and that is looking quite thick, so let's have a look at what's going on here. Oh yes, that definitely needs a stir. I think we need to get moving with this. It could be the sugar in the milk powder that's speeding this up, so let's get a move on. I've got a mould. I'm just doing a simple swirl technique today, so I'm just filling that up. I'll leave a little bit for the top. There, it's getting very thick is that, but we'll work with it. We'll add the blue-green, which I'm pouring from a height to try and make sure I break through. I'm going to scrape that jug out. I think I'll be digging deep to swirl this. There, and then I think, yes, I'm going to do the pink next. Again, I'm going in from a height. Something has made that speed up, and I don't think it's a fragrance. I've got a feeling it has to be the milk powder. And and some orange. Go on. It's still going to look great. These things happen when you're making soap. It's its own master or mistress. So you have to be prepared to work with whatever happens. And disasters can sometimes turn into massive successes. So here, I'm just going to go in and swirl this as best I can with the end of my wooden spoon. And I'm digging all the way down to the bottom, giving it a good swirl, and I'm going to go this way too. Okay, now I'm hoping this, I'm going to put some of this on the top, what we've got left here, and texture it. I might put a tiny bit of the orange on the top. Let's see if we can spread that out a little bit. Yeah. There we are. And because it's got quite thick on us, I'm going to give this a really firm bang down because I'm worried that there could be air bubbles in it. Do you think that was firm enough? Okay. Right. I've got a little bit of pink and orange there. And so, okay, I'm just going to texture this by just sweeping it across once. Digging underneath. Oh look, we're getting some of those colours coming through, which is nice. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm liking that. Oh, some pink. Oh. Ah. Oh, there we have it. Let's drag you over a little bit more. I'm just going to, I'm just tempted to do this a little bit more. Okay. Now that I've tidied that up a little, I'm just going to squirt the top with some isopropyl alcohol to prevent any soda ash. There we go. And I'm going to attempt to give you a close-up of what this top looks like, because the colours are really coming through and they look absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to put this, where are we? There. I'm going to put this somewhere wrapped up nice and warm for about 24 hours, and then we'll come back to cut it and see what it looks like inside. See you in a bit. What I thought I'd do is, I've already cut the soap, but you're going to see that after this part. But what I wanted to do was show you how this soap lathers up, and so as not to spoil the cut or the surprise of the cut and what's inside that soap bar, I'm going to just use a little off cut of the soap, and I'm going to wash my hands with it and see how well it lathers up. And remember that this is after just, well, it's less than a day, and the longer you cure soap, the better the bubbles and lather become. So as you can see, we're getting loads of bubbles there. So this is going to be a great soap once it's fully cured in 3 or 4 weeks. There we go, look at that.